shows up around 4:30 to be there early, 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
The lights are on in the gym, and Kobe's already inside practicing. Alan was watching the whole thing, and he goes, like, is that it? Is that all he's practicing? And he talked to him afterwards. I watched you practice, and I've coached like varsity teams and high school teams. He goes, what you're practicing in your drills? It's all very simple stuff. You're not doing anything that's
crazy.
That's over the top.
Yeah.
And Kobe said, that's what sets me apart from everybody. I don't get tired with the basics.
Right.
Constantly drilled the basics, constantly practiced the most basic moves, which made him one of the best basketball players ever.
Yeah.
Just by practicing the basics. And it's like, wow, is that ever powerful, right?
Yeah, that is.
Is that ever a eye-opening thing? Because we're all always like going like, what's the thing that nobody knows
what can we do?
that I can learn that's going to put me ahead?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's mastering the basics.
Yeah. Biggest thing that surprised me was like how much you're like an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And how much you deal, like how much goes into it. Like on the surface, you're a salesperson, like
that's
right.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, can create your own schedule and do whatever you want, which is glamorous, but it's also like a lot of responsibility and like can be scary.
Yeah. So exactly, especially when like you're writing up contracts and then negotiating for your first time. How intense that feels.
Yes.
That first negotiation of just like even a counter offer.
I remember my first counter offer. It was like it came in really late at night, and I think I was messaging you because it's just like a crazy feeling. Like it's just like, okay, what do we do? Like,
right, because it's like, oh, now the ball's in my court. Now I need to do something, and if I don't say the right thing, then this is all done.
Yes, and I want what's best for my clients. Like, I'm like, I need to do what's right. Like, get it going. Like, so it's just a crazy feeling, like having that responsibility.
But to do it in a enthusiastic way.
And like entertaining.
Right. Relevant real estate information in an entertaining way. If you like the sound of that, hit the subscribe, follow along through the journey. But without further ado,
plug it.
Adam, don't put that one in. Because he put the last message. He's going to put it in. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Thank you very much. I'm super excited to get into today's podcast with Sami Tonge. And I am very happy to get into this, because Sami's made a absolute impact coming into the industry. It's her first year in real estate in August, you said?
Yeah, August is my year end.
Is your year end, and she has already done multiple deals, listing appointments lined up, and getting a plethora of experience in her first year, while doing it all in a super authentic way. So I'm super excited to dive into what's been the driver for your success and to your story.
Yeah.
But to start off, Sami, first of all, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
You are very, very welcome. So the first question I ask everybody is, tell me a little bit about Sami and what got you into real estate.
Yeah, so my name is Sami Tonge. Super excited to be here. I grew up in Quispamsis, so born and raised, lived here my entire life. So that's definitely helped with my experience and my connections in the business. I would say like kind of always knew that I wanted to do something like related. Not necessarily I knew I wanted to be a real estate agent,
right.
But I would say like I was interested in like interior design kind of when I was growing up. That was like my dream job. So,
okay, I can see that.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand. And then I got into sales. So I worked in retail sales a little bit. So I think like connecting with people, it kind of just all like fit into place. And then I kind of started exploring different careers, and real estate was one of them. And now
here you are.
Yeah.
I know. It's a very interesting journey to get to be a real estate agent. It's the same with me. I never thought growing up that I would be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
I always thought I was going to be kind of through and through in the trades.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I would end up end up doing. And it's funny because I did that for a little bit, but I still landed myself here in real estate. I always had a passion for like marketing and business at the end of the day. I always enjoyed the idea of being in control of your own destiny while also finding ways to give value to, right? So it's like, it's a equal sense of wanting to funny, have your own freedom, which the funny thing is you actually have less freedom being an entrepreneur than you would if you just worked somewhere else, right? Because it never stops, right? Because it never really stops. And it's something that you're always doing, especially getting started in the industry. Yeah. So what has been your favorite thing so far about being a real estate agent that you have found with your first year? What are some things that maybe you didn't expect to enjoy, but that you're enjoying?
I think like really the flexibility, like you do work all the time, but kind of feels like never because you're doing something that you love and you're connecting with people. So I think like being able, there's so many parts to being a realtor. Like there's so much. Like you are running a business, you are an entrepreneur, you're doing so many different things, and it's something that you kind of don't realize. Like I think that was the biggest thing that I've realized this year is that you're fully creating your own business. And like, well, that comes with flexibility. It does come with a lot of responsibility at the same time.
100%.
So it's definitely something that you need to learn, and just all the little things like that go into it. But I do think that the flexibility is something that is such a bonus. Plus, it's really fulfilling. Like I know a lot of people say this, but it is really
super fulfilling. It is extremely fulfilling.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, that's one of the things that keeps me going during the tough times. Because, there's times where you are just carrying an immense amount of stress through negotiations because you know that your clients really want this property. You want
it's a big deal.
You want to help them get the best possible price for that property. You want to also position them so they're able to win it in a competitive offer. So then you're vouching for them in the best way possible, trying to make a connection with the other agent, trying to make a connection between them through like letters and just like all these things that we do to try to position our clients in the best possible way so that they can achieve their real estate goals, which are huge goals. This is massive milestones for people. And the really cool part is the longer you do it, the more this is going to end up happening to you when you're out and about and you see some of your past clients and they're like over the moon excited to see you because you help them through a very stressful transaction and they're like with their mom or something like, I want to introduce you to my real estate agent. And they're just like so happy that you're there. And then they tell the story of like, we were able to sell our house and pay off our debt. Now we're having a kid and And it's just like, they're like glowing and radiating about this thing that maybe to me, it was a, not just a transaction, but like to me, maybe I thought they forgot me, or maybe I thought but then just to see the glow on them and go, oh yeah, that's the impact that I had on that particular moment in time. Yeah. And that is super, super, super fulfilling. It is an extremely fulfilling because it's life changing for people.
It is.
It's life changing.
Yeah.
When people are buying and selling, whether they're buying the first house, they're never going to forget that.
No.
They're never going to forget that.
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Honestly, any transaction is like, it's like when people buy or sell it, it really is an indication of moving in life. So something has happened, even if it's just like, oh, our family's growing and I want to move. That's still a big deal. Like it's anything is a huge impact on their life, especially buying and selling. So it is a huge deal.
And it's, because people can kind of get into the routine of life while they're living in the house, but it's the moment that they're selling it that becomes the very memorable and emotional time, right? Which makes sense. And it's funny too, a lot of times I'll be getting clients ready to sell their house and, you give them the pointers on things to do, decluttering, depersonalize, deep clean, maybe some fresh paint, updating a couple things in the kitchen, like little things that go a long way. And then by the time they do that, they're like, I don't even want to sell anymore.
I know.
It's so funny because they're like, geez, my house actually is really nice.
It looks so nice. Yeah.
And I'm like, are we still going to do it? Or it's up to you.
Yeah, exactly. Right? There's just so many.
We don't have to do this. I'm like, no, we have to do it.
Yeah. There's just so many different emotions. And like you said, that's like, your house looks the best when it's
There is a lot of emotions to it, right?
Yeah.
Now, what are some things from your perspective too, because I'm actually like really curious just to pick your brain when it's like your first year in real estate. I wish somebody would have done this with me.
Yeah.
What are some things that maybe have surprised you about real estate that maybe you weren't expecting coming into the business?
I think honestly the biggest thing that surprised me was like how much you're like an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and how much you deal, like how much goes into it. Like on the surface, you're a salesperson, like
That's
right.
Right. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, and like myself included, before getting into it, like a lot of people still ask questions like, oh, do you get paid hourly? Or like, you know what I mean? Like little questions like that. And like, obviously different places are different. And
Well,
like,
that is the interesting part.
Yeah.
Some people do.
yeah, exactly. But it's just like crazy, like getting into it. Like, I think the biggest thing for me, like a few months in, I like realized like, wow, this is really like, you're on your own. Like you can create your own schedule and do whatever you want, which is glamorous, but it's also like a lot of responsibility and like can be scary.
Yeah. So, right, exactly. Especially when like, you're writing up contracts and then negotiating for your first time, how intense that feels.
Yes.
That first negotiation of just like even a counter offer, even if it's just verbal.
Yeah.
You're like, holy smokes. Okay. All right. Now what do I say?
Yeah. I remember my first counter offer. It was like, it came in really late at night. And I think I was messaging you because it's just like a crazy feeling. Like, it's just like, okay, what do we do? Like,
right. Because it's like, oh, now the ball's in my court. Now I need to do something. And if I don't say the right thing, then this is all done.
Yes. And I want what's best for my clients. Like, I'm like, I need to do what's right. Like, get it going. Like, yeah. So it's just a crazy feeling, like having that responsibility.
That feeling doesn't subside too much, which for me anyway. And I think that's good. I think that is now like the what do I do?
Yeah.
It's not that, but the feeling of going, oh, this is now in my court. It's my turn
like
to say something. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting part. And then another thing that was a huge milestone in my mindset and thought process with real estate was like the first time I was in a negotiation. I remember the agent that I was in a negotiation with, and I felt like it was me versus them.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to out negotiate them, that I needed to work them kind of deal. And then what I realized, geez, maybe 2 to 3 years in, and then I'm going, wait a minute, it's not me versus all these
crazy
agents.
realization
it's
I had
me
as well.
working with these agents to accomplish my client's goal.
Yeah.
And because we need to work with these agents on a repeat basis.
Right.
So if we're taking advantage of somebody in every situation, then it's actually going to make that agent not want to work with us when we're listing properties. It might make it like less enticing for them to encourage their client to want to put an offer in on a property if we're horrible to deal with. Being good to deal with is a major benefit in this industry because you're going to have more people that want to work with you. And then So then realizing that, but then also just, like realizing that it's just, they have a client that they're representing to their best ability. And I have a client that I'm representing to my best ability. We're both accomplishing our fiduciary duties for our client.
But you're working towards the same goal.
We're working towards the same goal. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And that's a huge realization that, it's funny because I've mentioned that to a couple agents who have been in the industry for a very long time. Yeah. And they're like, man, the fact you're figuring this out now is huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it, and then it just makes it a little bit better too, because then it takes away that little bit of me versus you.
Yes.
And then, sometimes, every once in a while, if I'm in a situation where I'm going, the next step is very unclear to me and I don't want to wreck this deal, I'll call the agent and just go, look, here's where we're at. Yeah. Like, I know that we're not on the same terms right now, but here's where we need to get. What do we need to do to make this happen?
Like what should we do? And
then like they'll walk through with you most times too, right? And be like, here's, okay, like what can we do? Because that's where bringing the deal together is really important. And this is actually really cool that we're talking about this right now, because this is some like back behind the curtain stuff,
behind the scenes,
behind the scenes stuff that most people don't really get to see or even hear about, because a lot of times you just see the sold sign, you see the for sale sign, you see the happy post, you see the stuff on social media, but there's a lot on the back end, just like some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier, like just with certain deals that have water tests, they got inspections, you got lawyers, you got all these different things that can come up throughout a transaction that you need to navigate. And it's not just a straight process.
Yeah, it'd be great if it was.
It'd be right. Yeah. It'd be great. And it's a lot of troubleshooting, finding solutions, knowing people that can help you provide a solution is also huge. Having a network of professionals to call, certain lawyers that you can trust to call and be like, okay, lawyers are one of the best benefits and assets in our business, in my opinion, right? Because they have the the ultimate contract law knowledge.
They
and
know,
they know.
yeah, they have a lot of
That's
knowledge.
what they went to school for, right? We understand the real estate contract.
Right.
They understand the greater scope of kind of how to navigate a lot of this stuff too. And finding good lawyers is huge.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Now, what, because you came right into eXp as a new agent, which is also a very interesting topic to discuss, because a lot of people say eXp is not for new agents. I don't want to guide you through this question, so I just want to say, what has your experience been as a new agent coming into eXp?
Yeah, it's been good. Like, it's been really good. I think that the team we're on provides a lot of training, and we're learning from a lot of different agents from different places, which is really unique. And there's a lot of people to lean on regardless. Like, I think something that I was worried about, like being transparent, was that it is a cloud-based brokerage and we don't typically have like a real office space to go to. So like, I work from home, I work at an office at home, and I was worried that that would put me at a disadvantage where I'm not interacting with agents every day, and if I have a question, I couldn't just walk down a few steps and to their desk and ask them. But with the team we're on, I think that there hasn't been any issues. Like, I'm calling you all the time and our other coworkers all the time, and there's been a lot of support, so it hasn't been an issue at all.
The group chat that we have for the Wolfpack organization that we have, it's so useful.
Yeah.
So useful. Because, we have a group chat of over 30 agents.
Yeah.
And if you do the collective experience of those 30 agents, I mean, it's probably over 100 years of experience you're getting all into one kind of deal, right?
Yep.
But it's everybody that pools in. And like, that's what I've really enjoyed about even having our group, is just the resources of other agents' perspectives that we get to openly discuss in a way where it's not being judged. Like, sometimes if you're asking a question, especially as a real estate agent, you can almost feel vulnerable.
Yes, 100%.
Of going, I'm almost nervous to ask this question because maybe I should know it. But it's like, we just have like a super safe space of like, who do you recommend for this? Or what do you guys recommend in this thing? And like, people are like happy to share because it's like, oh yeah, I know what to do there. And like, it's nice and easy. And that's the really cool thing, about business, but also about real estate too, is most people who are doing well are excited to share what has helped them get to where they're at. Especially in this brokerage.
Yeah, I agree.
So when I'm going to eXp conferences, I'm always happy to go because every time I go, I've grown from the last time I was there, and I'm facing new problems every single time. There's 2 of them a year, so it's like 6 months gap. Right. 6 month gaps, pretty well, give or take. And every time I learn something, because I'm always asking questions about what's currently kind of like, what is my current obstacle of me not hitting my milestones? Yeah. I just find that really cool. Like having a collaborative environment where nobody has to work with each other. Yeah. Nobody has to contribute. But there's a culture that's there to contribute with for those who want to partake.
Right. And I think something really interesting about real estate is, like, you obviously do the schooling that's required and that kind of thing, but you honestly learn the most from experience.
100%.
Like, that's just the reality of it. And I think that it's really unique to have agents that understand that they were once in the exact spot that you're in right now, and more than happy to help you.
Absolutely.
In that spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you got to find the right spot, the right brokerage that has that culture. Right. Because I don't want to speak for other brokerages, but from my past experience, people were actually very, very gracious in helping me in the office environment. And I enjoyed that learning phase. But there just came to a point too, like, everybody's willing to help until you become a little bit of a threat as well.
Right. That's an interesting point too.
Right? Everybody's happy to kind of help until now they're losing listings to you, right? Yeah. And then it's like,
I know, that's also a unique thing about real estate, just like the reality of it. Like, I think that honestly, like, from my perspective, it's like we're working together, and I'm happy to see other agents grow and
100%.
And that kind of thing. But definitely not everyone would have that view on it.
And then having the mindset that there's enough business for everybody too.
Right. 100%.
Not that, you're not going to get 100% of the listings
Right.
that you go to, just because you may not match with the individual across the table, and it might not be a good match for you. That's another thing that took me a while to learn, was working with clients that I mutually felt a relationship with.
Yeah.
Where sometimes there was, when I first started off, I worked some deals with people that I just probably should have walked out the door at the listing appointment.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was actually talking about this the other day, so I'm interested to hear your view on it.
Yeah, so this is huge, because when you start working with a client that you don't align with, it can start to take more energy from you than you'll ever get back from it. And they'll actually take so much from you that when an opportunity comes up for you to get business with somebody that you align with, you're almost drained from working with this one person that is so frictionless, that is so exhausting to kind of like even talk to on the phone. And then you realize going, this person's actually taking more from me than it's ever going to be worth.
Right.
It's not even worth the commission at the end of the day.
Right.
And oftentimes in those scenarios, you don't actually get it to close because there's way too much friction.
Right. It's just not going to work out.
They're either unhappy, you're unhappy, and it just, energies collide. And that's where I started to get into the YouTube journey.
Yeah.
Of broadcasting who I was, and putting myself out there to then have people come to me that want to work with me.
Right.
So it kind of reversed the whole prospecting model of, instead of me going out and looking for clients all the time and then hoping I'm finding the right ones, then I started making content where people that enjoyed my communication style, they enjoyed what I was talking about, the value I was giving, they would reach out to me. And then at that point, they just want to make sure that I'm the same person that I'm showing online. Right. And they just want to make sure that the energy still works. Yeah. But most times they're already kind of in a way knowing you and feeling comfortable with you to reach out.
Yes.
Like I just had a lady message me literally yesterday from Ontario. And she's like, hey, I found your videos online and I'm thinking of moving to Quispam. Like, I want to...
Isn't that crazy?
Like, I want to help. And right now I'm just waiting on my husband. He's got his third interview. And it's like, that's just really cool to see.
It is.
And those opportunities are huge. It's like, I'm so grateful for those. Those are the people that I want to pour myself into. Yes. Because now they're reaching out to me. So it's starting the relationship from a point of trust and not from a point of friction where you're trying to prove yourself the entire time. Yes. Which can be a losing battle. And I learned that, that probably took me a year or two to learn. Yeah. Because it was like, I at first thought, I just want to work with anybody to get experience. And I want to work with anybody to get the commission. Because it's like, when you're starting off. Yeah. You need to
do what you can.
You need to put food on the table, right? So then it was shifting my mindset to go, oh, not everybody is actually going to be a great client, even if it ends up being a commission. It could be something that actually takes so much from me that I'm losing
in the big picture,
in the net. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've been like super fortunate. A lot of like all of my clients that I've worked with so far have been amazing, but I was thinking about that the other day and I was having a conversation about that. So that's like a good point. But I think that social media does play a huge part in that. And like you said, it's just like you're putting yourself out there already. People are understanding who you are and they're deciding if they want to work with you or not. So then automatically you have that connection before even meeting them.
Right. And you've really went all in on social media from day one of getting your real estate license. Yeah. And I remember actually on some of the Wolfpack calls where I'll do a name drop, John Schuckman. He was on the call talking about social media, talking about if you haven't been doing social media lately, just reintroduce yourself, do a video, tell people why you're passionate about real estate, about what got you into business. And you were on that call, and I think like it was literally like right after that call,
the next day,
you did the video on it, and then like that was received really well. And it was the fact that you were learning and then taking action immediately, because it's one thing to learn. A lot of people can learn easily, but it's taking the action that is the huge differentiator. of who's gonna be successful and who's not. Because it's one thing to learn, but if you're not doing anything with it and you're not applying it into your business,
right,
then it's useless.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, like I decided that I wanted to do social media as my lead source generation. And there's so many different ones. Like I did try a few different ones just to try them, but honestly, I think that I know agents who are super successful from mail outs. I know agents that are super successful from door knocking and like
cold calling.
Yeah. And I honestly think that it's just about consistency.
100%.
And I don't think that you're going to be consistent with anything that you're not passionate about.
Absolutely.
Or you don't enjoy.
You need to find something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did door knocking. It's an experience, but it's not for me. So I love doing social media, and I want that to be my main lead generation source. So that's what I decided to stick with. So I spend a lot of time doing research and putting my energy into creating content and sourcing the best way I can to be successful in that way. But I honestly think it's just like being consistent with something.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then showing up because the thing is, it's also about giving value and then finding a nice mix in between of not begging for business on social media. Like some people, their social media is just, here's the property I sold, call me if you want business.
And just all
here's
ads.
the property I sold. Yeah, exactly. It's just all pretty well, call me, call me, call me, call me, call me.
And it might work for them. Like there's maybe no like right or wrong. Like when it comes to anything, like people can be successful in so many different ways. But for me, I wanted to use my social media as a way for people to get to know me. So I wanted to create a balance between work, my life, my personality, how I run my business, being authentic on social media. So that was a big factor for me. So that's like how I kind of market my social media. So you will see like on my pages, like marketing and stuff like that. Like I'm absolutely there to let everyone know that I'm a realtor, but
100%,
I also want them to know me and be able to connect with me and trust me.
100%. And then that's where I've been really doubling down. And sometimes I feel like I actually give so much value, but then I don't even ask for business in return. And I almost just hope that the value I give is going to be enough that people will come to me. And most times it is. It is. But I probably could get better at kind of the ask the ask at the end of the day. So it's like Gary Vee, one of my favorite marketers on planet Earth. Like that guy pretty well like inspired me to get into business. I remember watching him when I was commercial diving in college and in PEI. And anyway, I was watching him and I was like, I love this guy's energy. And I felt like I had a similar energy that was just like very kind of like just outgoing, energetic kind of deal. And his whole premise is jab, 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 right hook. So it's value, 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 then you ask, right? But like, I seen it work so well on me because I watched so much of his content where I felt like I was almost getting like a crash course business diploma from social media just by watching him. And then the first time that he like sold something, it was like a book. I was like, I'm in. And then like I bought it because I just almost felt like I was like obliged. Like I had to. I'm like, he's giving me so much value. Buying this book is nothing. Plus I'm going to get so much value from the book. Because if he's giving me this much value online, think about how much value I'm going to get when I actually buy the thing.
I know.
And then it was like, then it was shoes. Then it was like a t-shirt. Then it's like everything that was coming out. I was like, yes. Just in. Because it's like he created such a loyal base because giving that value. And I think that's really where I'm like pushing towards just finding ways to kind of like just give as much value as possible. And then the other thing I was thinking actually earlier today is like when I first started doing market updates, they were grueling. Trying to figure out a way to communicate stats. At the time, like 7 years ago, to me, I was just like, oh God! This is how do I make this?
It's boring.
Fun?
It can be boring.
It seems boring and dry. Especially when I was 25 years old, I was like, this is this is dry. How do I make this entertaining? But like, the more time I've been putting into it, the better I get at it, then the better I get at it, the more fun I'm having doing it.
Yeah.
So then now it's like, I'm like excited. I'm sitting there looking at stats all day.
Yeah.
I'm just like plugged into all the stats. I'm like, I can't wait for April 10th to come out because then we have the jobs report.
Right.
And then after the jobs reports come out, I'll be able to do a full market update for the full month of March. And I always do like, it'll be called the April market update just so that people at April watch it.
Right.
But it's actually for the month of March.
Right.
But it's going over everything. And then I figured out a way going like, okay, I love going over the high level, looking at all across Canada so that we can get the big picture. Because a lot of times people get caught up on the local market here and they're just like, the prices have gone up too high. There's no way this is sustainable. We're in a bubble. And it's like, well, that could be easy to think if you're just looking at St. John.
Right.
But if we zoom out and then you realize like the average house price, like all across Canada is like, it's like $500,000 or something, whatever it is. But then if you look at every single province.
Yeah, there's a lot of different comparatives.
We're one of the lowest bars of entry for any province. I think like, who is it actually? Saskatchewan might be one of the cheapest now, somewhere in the prairies there. But like, we're like number 3 on the ladder, like the lowest average house price per province.
Yeah.
We were the lowest at one point.
Yep.
But then a lot of people moved here and shifted the average house price just slightly.
Yeah.
But like that stuff super interested in me because I find that helps paint a better picture. And then at the end of the day, like sometimes the market updates will get 1,000 views, 200. All it matters is that it helps one person that's currently looking to buy or sell.
Yep.
I literally don't even care about the views on it anymore.
Right.
It makes great content when you cut it up too. That's the other thing.
Yep.
And it's just putting those messages out there to try to help people, right?
Yeah.
How can I explain this in a way that's going to help this market make sense to somebody who's looking to get into it that may not understand what the sales to listing ratio means?
Right.
Like, what does that mean for the average person?
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too because like for me, I feel like real estate is a business of connections and you're building that. Even if I'm having a connection with someone now in a small way, it might lead to business or something larger down the line. 100%. Like that's how it works.
100%.
So I think it's really like important to make your content actually interesting because for me, before I got into real estate, I was obviously young. Like I didn't care about the housing market, but if I saw a video that was like interesting and made me stop and watch it, it wasn't just like someone sitting there like boring telling it how it is, like I wouldn't care about that. So I think it's really important to make the content actually worth watching.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And like, not that you need to like juggle while you're doing it or anything, right?
No.
You don't got to be
you
like,
could.
Right. I mean, I mean, well, there's a, now I'm thinking about the guy that runs marathons and juggles.
Yeah.
And he's called the joggler.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a perfect idea for your April stats.
Yeah. I'm definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
So I practiced juggling for a little bit. Anyway, so, but like just finding the way, like being passionate about it at the end of the day, right?
Yes,
being passionate about it.
Yeah.
And, man. Yeah. I friggin' love the market updates.
Yeah. Because you're passionate, because you do love it. So it comes off more entertaining than if you were just didn't care about it either.
And the other cool thing too is like, now I'm getting into writing blogs. So I just did that actually. I just wrote, So what I did is I took my videos, pretty well transcribed them and turned them into blogs.
Okay.
That I'm like, okay, now I got real estate blogs.
Yeah.
I never even thought that would be a thing that comes from the market updates.
What you look at, like already.
Kind of, but just breaking it down into words. So pretty well, more or less, just transcribing my videos into a way that is in like a reading format. And then I tag the video on there too. So we'll see
Have you put any out yet?
Just 3 of them yesterday. Okay. So yeah, just literally trying it for the first time. But I went back January, February, March. So I pretty well did the first quarter of this year. Yeah. So then now I'm going to make sure I stay on top of it to get some stuff out there and just finding these different ways to like leave little digital footprints everywhere.
Yep.
That because I think that as real estate goes on, it's going to get more digital and digital.
I agree. Yep.
There's no way that we're moving away from that, but also it's a very belly to belly business, person to person, which is why I actually do love real estate. Like I remember actually before I got into real estate, there was some guys that were trying to get me into financial.
What got you into real estate?
Great question. What got me into real estate? So, like I said, started off in the trades.
Yeah.
in the military as well. So,
Right.
yeah, joined the military at 16. I was already working on the Vine before that.
Okay.
So kind of like always thought I was blue collar.
Yep.
And always was yapping.
Yeah.
Always was yapping. Like literally I got told as a commercial diver
Yeah.
to shut the fuck up. You're wasting oxygen. Literally wasting oxygen because
Really?
we only have so much oxygen
Right.
in tanks,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you can't be down there babbling on forever. Like it's like literally costing the company money.
Right.
So then I'm like, oh my goodness. So I used to always get in trouble for talking all the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into business. I always knew I wanted to get into something with business because I feel like there's a little bit of an artist inside me as
Yeah.
well. I love art, but I also love the competitiveness of business too. And I love finding ways to be creative to have success.
That's the fun part too.
It is so fun.
Yeah.
It is so fun because
There's
I'm
no
like,
limit. Like,
there's no limit,
yeah.
right? I'm like, okay, so I'm allowed to do this pretty well any way I want.
Yeah. Cool.
Like obviously within the
Yeah.
guidelines of the real estate board,
Right.
of
Still being professional.
following the code of ethics. There is definitely a certain box, not that you can just
Right.
do absolutely anything, but then once you figure out like, okay, here's the sandbox I'm allowed to play in.
Yeah.
And as long as I stay within the rules of this sandbox, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Where
Yeah.
some industries don't have that.
Right.
Not every industry has the ability to be able to like market the way that we do.
Right.
And then like lead generate, right? Because they have different regulations. And so then my grandfather was a real estate agent.
Okay.
He was a real estate agent.
Someone asked me that the other day.
What?
If your parents were a real estate
Yeah.
agent.
So my grandfather, Gary Vincent.
Yeah.
He was in the business. He retired from teaching.
Okay.
Yep. So he was a teacher, and then retired, and then he got into real estate. And he was always like a business guy.
Yeah.
He was always doing deals all
Yeah.
his life.
You can always tell.
He always had something going on. You know, whether it was freaking whatever it was, he was always doing
on the go.
something. He was involved in like ATMs for a little while, and just like he just always had something on the go. He was very entrepreneurial at heart, I believe. And anyway, I got into a family business with my mother. Actually,
Okay.
she also being an entrepreneur, had a massage therapy business.
Okay.
And she wanted to expand it, but then I kind of came in and I was like, I want to do something. And it was actually timing was everything because there was a very small window where I could have gone full-time military,
Okay.
where I put my application in to go Air Force. And that took 2 years to get back. During
wow.
2 years, I went out west to weld, realized that wasn't for me. I was out there for about 6 months, came back home. I was living in Calgary for a while, came back home. Then I went into commercial diving college.
Yep.
Started work as a commercial diver. When I was doing that, I got a phone call from the military that said, hey, we're now ready to bring you on 2 years later. And I was like, I'm already on a whole different track of life here. Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
So just almost forgot that this was even like in the background. Then I was like full-fledged on the commercial diving. The first year of commercial diving, you're really busy during the summer. But the winters slow down. There's not a ton of work to do for divers in the winter.
Makes sense.
So then I was on EI at that point. That was when my mom decided to start another business. So I was like, okay, it's my first time ever on EI. And I was losing my mind. I was like, I need to do something.
Bored,
I cannot sit still.
Right.
So then pretty well took that entire time and wrote up a business plan and then got started in Pangea Wellness Spa with my mother, which was a kind of like manicure, pedicure, massage spot in Lily Lake.
Okay,
so the
cool.
big thing was the location. I loved the location of being down at Lily Lake just because it's so serene there.
It's beautiful.
And we started that. And I knew nothing about the wellness industry. I knew nothing about any of that.
Yeah.
But I thought if I go into a business and I know nothing about it and I'm able to do well, then that to me tells me I'm pretty well able to do like anything in business.
Right.
So we started off and, it was going very well. The pandemic really messed things up. That's what got me to take my foot out of that completely.
Yeah.
But I remember my grandfather came to me while I was running that business and he asked me, he goes, how much money are you making here? And anybody who runs a business knows your first year of business, there's not a ton of extra money.
Right.
You're paying your staff.
It's
You're paying
expensive.
leases.
Yeah.
You're paying HST remittance. You're paying the government. You're paying for marketing. You're paying for your supplies. You're paying for all the new stuff that you need when you're running a business because you constantly need new things that you didn't think of prior.
Yeah.
So all of the extra money was going out the door.
Even if you do well, it's just going back into the business.
It's going back into the business. You're reinvesting it. So there wasn't a ton left. And I was like, not all that much. He's like, man, you would do way better coming to sell real estate with me.
Yeah.
And that rang in the back of my head for a while. And I let that kind of ring back there for about a week or two.
Yeah.
And I eventually went to visit him in his office. And I said, if you're serious about this, if you actually think that I can do well, then I will like take my chances at it. All I ask is that you take me under your wing for a little bit.
Yeah. Were you close with him growing up, or did that kind of make you?
That made us very close.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't close with him, but that definitely brought us a lot closer. That was the most I seen him in my entire life, probably.
Right.
So because he's a busy fella, and but so that brought us really, really close, and that was really cool to be able to do that with him.
Unique experience.
I'm very, very glad that I got that experience, and he's got an old school mentality, so I got a little bit of that old school, learned what I wanted to keep and maybe what I didn't want to keep, and then implied because I always loved marketing and technology, so then I like just got into the social media side of it too. And
did you start doing social media right out, or did
pretty
you
well
try?
right away? Yeah, because I was already big on like Snapchat, so even when I was commercial diving, I was making stories on Snapchat, and I had this like daily like vlog thing going on where I would just like, I had an intro to my Snapchat story, and it was growing. Like I was talking to people all over the world. I actually got into drop shipping for a little bit. I got into drop shipping, so I was drop shipping bistro sets. So I found this is crazy. I found products on Walmart that were like deck sets that had free shipping. So let's say they were like $99. I'd sell them on Amazon for like $150.
Right.
And that's drop shipping at the end of the day. It's finding a product, putting a markup on it, and then sending it. A lot of people could listen to this and go, that's sleazy.
Right.
Well, that's what every company's doing when you go to the store. When you go to the store, they either bought that product or they made it. 90% of the time, they bought that product at a warehouse, like at a warehouse cost, at like a bulk cost, and then they mark it up and sell it.
Right.
So don't fucking hit me with this. That's crazy. That's what everybody does. So then I did that for a little bit, and so that was when I was going to college, and I was just like I want to make some extra money on the side. I always had that entrepreneurial thing too. When I was in high school, I was selling beef jerky out of my book bag to make an extra little bit of money. So I would,
it's always been there,
because I was working it on the Vine at 14. My buddy, Dan Cullen, who now owns Dan's Country Market. He was at the meat shop at the time. And he made this delicious beef jerky that was like to die for. And he, and anyway, I loved the beef jerky. Everybody on the Vine loved the beef jerky. And I was like, how do I get to buy this beef jerky and sell it at school? Because I was like, this would be a hot ticket at school. Resale, so he was like, all right, just buy them off me for $7 a bag. You sell them for 10. You make $3 on every bag. So then if I sold 10 bags that day, I'd make $30. Not bad when you're
in high school.
When you're 14 years old. So $30 a day.
Start.
So I literally remember getting grabbed one day in high school because my teachers thought I was selling drugs.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's high school, and I'm selling bags of stuff, and people are handing me money.
Like in little Ziploc bags?
Yeah, like plastic bags, And then one day I remember somebody grabbed me, they're like, gotcha. And I was like, what? And they're like, good try, like, not doing that in school. And I'm like, I'm selling beef jerky. They're like, yeah. And I pulled out a bunch of beef jerky. And they're just like looking at me like, what the heck is wrong with you? You're not a normal kid. Everyone else is selling drugs. You're selling beef jerky. And so I always had that. I always loved yard sailing. I was like, me and my buddies would go door to door and like ask to shovel. Like we were just always like looking to make $1 kind of deal, right? Like it was just part of my mentality. So I think that's helped the marketing, the social media stuff. Very long-winded way to tell that story, but
it's all right.
But
do you get all your business from social media now? No.
I'd say about 50% probably results strictly from social media. The rest is sphere of influence.
Yeah.
So most of it's like repeat business, sphere of influence. But I think the social media helps to let's say solidify the sphere of influence.
I agree.
Because they're like, oh, look, he's staying on it. He's staying plugged into the market. He knows what's going on. And then
they
when
just
people
know about you too. Like my clients, I had a hard time, like, because I want to track that stuff and like see where my business is coming from so I can invest my time correctly.
100%. That's super smart.
So my first few clients, it's like people I know, but the only reason they knew I was in real estate and they reached out was because of social media. So it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Like I already knew them, so I think maybe it would be like sphere of influence, but at the same time, it's like they knew I was in real estate because I'm posting on social media constantly and they're seeing my face pop up, and maybe word of mouth as well. But I think that social media had a part to play in that.
So the first few clients, they came from your sphere of influence.
Correct. But I think that they knew that I was in real estate because of social media.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one thing that really surprised me was when I first got into real estate.
Yeah.
Let's say your sphere of influence has layers. Okay, we'll call it layer 1, layer 2, and layer 3. Layer 1 is like family and like your very close friends.
Right.
And then layer 2 is like all the people that you'll stop and say hi to, but maybe you don't talk to them or like don't make a point to like hang out with them every single weekend. They're not the hangout crew. They're not the everyday crew.
Right.
But you would still consider them friends.
Right.
Right? And then like layer like 3 is just like people that you went to school with that you know you've been like in the same sphere.
Right.
You guys don't really know each other all that well, but you'll say hi.
Right.
Right. So a lot of my business came from layer 2 when I first started off, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's all this layer 1 business?
I know.
What the heck's going on with layer 1?"
That's
and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
All of it's coming from like layer 2, which I thought was fascinating.
Me too.
Which I thought was absolutely fascinating.
Layer 2 or even layer 3. Like
now,
for
maybe
me,
because
so far.
Yeah. And it's like maybe because there's when we say layer 1, there's actually not that many people.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people on layer 2, and there's a lot of people on layer 3.
Yeah. And it honestly has to do with timing. Like I have multiple like friends and family members who like just sold like right before I got my like started my license. Like obviously they're not going to wait, but which I 100% understand.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
but it's just timing. Like it just how it works.
And everybody's timing's different, and you know, at the end of the day, like I don't want anybody to feel like they have to work with me just because they know me either, right? Everybody knows a whole bunch of real estate agents. Right. It's like, I want to earn business.
Me too.
I want to earn business.
Yeah.
If somebody's working with me, I want them to work with me because
they want to.
Because they want to.
And they trust me.
And they trust me and they feel that this is the best decision for their financial future.
Me too.
And you know, I've never gotten upset at anybody because they've listed or done something with somebody else. Right. I'll call them maybe and just be like, you know, like, is there anything I could have done better? Right. But most times it's already talked about prior. They're like, man, I have to do this. Yeah. Either like there's a situation with my family. They know her. Like we need to use her.
It's just it's a business of connections, and like we live in a small place.
Right.
Like,
and then I'm like, I'm not going to let that get in between our friendship.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's, you know, I know some people that get very, very upset when somebody they know doesn't work with them. I'm never talking to that person again. It's like, life's too long for that, for one. Yeah. I'm not wrecking friendships over this. Right. This is business, right? And it's got to make business sense for everybody.
100%. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Like, people have connections with other people. People have different situations, and it's really just, like, what's best for them.
And then this is where I've always wanted to make sure that I'm providing a niche value proposition that most people aren't doing as well. So that's where I'm always trying to go, what's steps above the standard? Right. Like, let's say the standard is down here. I want to operate way above the standard of what's going on with everybody else. And whether that be through, like, because a lot of this stuff that I do, like even the podcast, it's like, this is all extra on top of like what most people do, right?
And you have a setup.
There's a setup, there's camera equipment, there's lights, phones, and all this stuff is a different investment, but it's an investment 100%. Into my business to have a separate niche, because I think media is going to be huge. Very, very important. I think brand building is super, super important. If there's anything that's going to get you recognized and well known, it's building a brand. And even if we can do that locally, at the end of the day, it only matters locally for what we want. Like a lot of my content, I'll be looking at it and I'm like, you know, that one there got a few hundred views. Even some videos that I have that do thousands of views. I'm like, that is so mind blowing. Because it's all local. Right. It's all local about St. John. Yeah. And so if you think about the population of St. John, what are we at? Like 90,000 for the greater St. John area? How many of those people are looking to buy and sell? Right. A very small selection of that 90,000 are actually interested in the real estate market during certain times for them to be able to go on and watch a video. Right. So it's a very small demographic, but none of that matters when it comes to getting business. If it's helping, like the fact that I'll get some leads from it, all it'll take 1 or 2 leads a year to really pay for the amount. And then anything on top of that is like extra business that I'm getting.
Yeah. It's a different way to look at it. Like you really do need to invest into your business
100%
to be successful and
to grow it.
And it's hard to like comprehend that at the time because it's so hard to just like trust that it's going to be worth it, but that's honestly what you have to do.
But you don't know is the thing, right? Because you don't know if it's going to work, and it's a matter of finding something that works well with you.
Right.
And then it's like, so there's the mindset of like, I'm not sure this is going to work, but then there's also the mindset of, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it is going to work. I like doing it this way, and I'm going to make this work.
Right.
I will freaking white knuckle it through, and sometimes it has been that where it's like, oh, I don't feel like filming today, but I need to do it. Yeah. I set this time aside, and there's some days where it's a grind, and there's other days where it's just friggin' it's fun, and I'm so glad I get to do this. I'm so glad I get to do business this way, and it's actually changed my feeling of the real estate business of how. The first couple of years of working with like some people was like, oh God, like ideally I don't want any more people like that ever in my life.
Right.
And to a point where it's like, now I'm working with people that is just like this mutual thing where I've just been so grateful to be able to work with the clients that I have that call me and that are like, hey, I want you to come and like look at our property. And like 90% of the times if they call me and they've seen me from the videos, like it's already a done deal.
Right.
I don't even, like one guy literally stopped me from selling myself.
Yeah.
He was like, man, he's like, I'm going to cut you off. It was a 2-minute conversation.
Yeah.
And I tried to like, he's like, hey, I have a 4 unit that I want to sell. And I've been watching your videos and I want you to sell it for me.
Yeah.
And then I start going, okay, yeah, no, absolutely. So, where's the 4 unit at? And then I asked him like, and then I start selling myself on like, yeah, I've done X, Y, Z in the past. And he's like, listen, man, I've already watched your videos. I know you, I like you, and I trust you.
Yeah.
Whatever you think, I will sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
I just need to get this sold because I just had my second kid. He's like, and this is just, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. He's like, so 2-minute conversation. He literally gave me, I was like, text me your name and your email. He's like, yep, absolutely. Once you have the documents ready, whatever you think, I will literally sign it. I trust you. And it's like, whoa, 2-minute conversation for a $420,000 listing that I got. Right. And it's like, that right there was the big aha moment.
Right.
Where I was like, the power of this is undeniable.
Right.
Undeniable. And then, I'd say that was the quickest turnaround from not knowing somebody to send me the documents and I'll sign whatever you think in 2 minutes.
I know. It's crazy.
In that much time.
Yeah.
It was on Rossley Avenue. I remember exactly where I was because I pulled over and I will never forget. I was like sitting in the parking lot of like Simply for Life or something.
Yeah.
Like I pulled over on Rossley Avenue and had a quick conversation with the guy. And I just couldn't believe the feeling afterwards of like, whoa.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like, it's like, there we go. That's what I'm talking about, right? And it's like the first time you just have a deal that works out so easy. And you go, oh, okay, here we go. Like, this is what it can be as well. But they're not all like that.
Right. No.
Most of them aren't.
Not. No. Yeah.
Most of them aren't. Cool. Sami, what advice would you give to agents coming in the business? From your first year experience, what would be something maybe that you would have even told yourself coming into the business?
I think really like how much you're working for yourself and kind of separating that like flexibility, like not taking it as an advantage. Like it is a luxury, but like honestly, like for me, like I sit down at my desk almost 7 days a week and like I force myself, even if there's no work to be done, to work on something, work on my business. Yeah, you can always find something. And I think that you do have the option to not work, like, but you're just not going to be successful at it. So,
100%, yeah.
So making yourself work and having a good discipline with your work is really a key factor because you are on your own. You're building your own business. You have support, but at the end of the day, it's how much work you're going to put into it. So I think that's something that I definitely realized, and I realized it early on, which I'm grateful about. So that's something I've been doing. And then also like the connection factor. Like, it really is a business of connections, and building those connections, and having that communication style. Like, not every client that you work with is going to be the same.
100%.
So you need to understand how to communicate with different personalities, and use that to your advantage.
100%. Exactly. And some people are more data driven.
Yeah.
Some people are just pure emotion.
Right.
Doesn't even matter about if it makes sense or not. It's just getting them emotionally there.
Right.
And other people, it has to make sense, but there's also emotion.
Yep.
And then other people, it's data and emotion, and everybody's a little bit different.
Exactly.
And just figuring out kind of like how to communicate the situation. And here's something else I realized too. Often we can have issues going on in a transaction.
Yep.
I never want to bring a problem to anybody without having a solution already thought about.
Right.
I want to think about a solution that I can at least provide that's a very viable option.
Yeah.
So that we can then, so that it goes from, hey, I just want to let you know, the buyers, like let's say I'm talking to the seller.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, the buyers found this on their inspection. Here's what they're looking for, but here's what I recommend in this scenario. We can actually fix it for less than what they're looking for, or maybe we can do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So instead of just going, hey, this is what they're looking for, and like throwing a problem at them, and then they're just like, overwhelmed, right? And it's like the end of the world now. It's like because that's horrible interaction for me and the client. Yeah. So it's like I want to remove as much of that as possible,
because that makes me nervous too.
It makes me super uncomfortable. It's like, what a bad position to put anybody in.
Yes.
You know? So then it's like finding that solution beforehand. And I don't know if that was something that I had learned from the military, but it was like, never bring a problem to a superior without having a solution in hand.
Right.
Because they're going to look right at you and go, okay,
what do we do?
So what are you going to do to fix it?
Yeah.
And then if you're a complete if you're not figuring it out, then they'll guide you. Right. But we need to guide our clients.
Well, that's our whole job, like, is to do that background work. Like, we're there to communicate and to figure it out. Yeah. Like, that's what our job is, honestly.
100%.
Yeah.
And then, because it's to make the process easy for the client.
Right.
I want to, because it's a huge process. We've gone through it so many times. After over 100 transactions, you get so much wisdom under your belt. And the more that you do, the easier it becomes. But another thing that I love is that there's normally never the same situation twice.
Yeah.
There's similar situations, but there's never the same situation twice. Either A, because it's a different property, different location, and just different people.
Yep.
Even if it's the same problem, but different person, that's a different scenario.
Right.
Because it's like, how are we solving this with this person right now, with what they need?
Yep.
Everybody's got different needs, wants, timelines, desires.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, and I think that's the fun part about it is, it's a very complex business. So there's a saying, real estate is easy, but it's not simple.
Right.
So it's easy to do, but it's not simple. So it's like, if you're doing the right things day to day, you're doing the lead generation, you're doing business, you have the network to be able to help you. If you're positioning yourself properly, it can be much easier.
Yeah. Like on paper. On paper, it's easy.
Yeah, sure. Right. Like somebody just, like somebody looking online and they go, Brandon just listed a property. For example, 3 weeks ago, I listed 3 properties.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I hung 3 sold signs.
Right.
Every single one, pretty well. We brought it from listed to sold signs within like a week or 2.
Right.
That looks easy.
Yeah.
There was a ton going on in the background.
Yes.
There was videos being shot. There was all kinds of dollars going into marketing.
Yeah.
There was a rock solid strategic pricing plan.
Right.
To list it at an enticing price that was going to drive the showings, drive the interest.
Right.
And all of these things kind of beforehand that made it look easy at the end.
Yeah.
But, there was moments where I'm negotiating with the client and like the other agents, and we had to work together and bring 2 parties together. That's not talked about on any of that, right?
Right.
So that's where it looks easy, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. What are some other things that you've found about the real estate industry that maybe like have surprised you?
Definitely like that we're working with agents, not against them. Like, I think that's really like a big realization moment.
Yeah. Now, some of them are a little bit frictionless, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that's a whole other dynamic, is working with the other agent.
Right.
That's why often if people call me and they're like, hey, like I got something here, like what do you think? Like if they're just picking my brain, I often ask, who are you working with?
Right.
Who's on the other side?
Right.
Because that could depend on what you need to do.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
It is crazy.
But then understanding that is super important too. And I think, knowing the agents, knowing the different dynamics, get back to what you're saying, knowing the personality types, how to navigate that is very, very
And you start to learn
too.
that, like even just like reaching out to like booking showings or seeing different people's listings, like you start to like pick up on like the way that they run business, and like you're understanding that, and like how you can work with them best, even if there might be like a little bit of friction, like how can we do this the best way so that 100%. There's not a lot of friction.
There's not a lot.
Yeah.
And there's so much to learn from every agent too. Every agent does their business in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because then I go, ooh, I really like what he's doing over there.
Yeah,
I love the way that she did that.
Every transaction.
I'm gonna put that into my arsenal.
Right.
Right? It was like when the escalation clauses started coming out. Like one agent started the escalation clause.
Yeah.
I would love to know who wrote the first one during the pandemic. During the pandemic, who wrote that first clause, and then you start seeing it pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's like that great strategy just caught like wildfire.
It did. It really did.
And that happens. So it's always good to be able to learn from the people that you're working with.
Right.
And finding things that they're doing and going, I love that. I want to apply that into my business. I want to start implementing that strategy. And the crazy thing is when you do that, they have compounding effects.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd love. Another, again, going back to the conferences.
Yeah.
Obviously I have a conference on my mind.
Right.
If you just pick up 1 to 2 to 3 things at a conference, even just one, that you bring back into your day-to-day business and you apply that in your day-to-day, that new thing that you learned, that can have massive compounding effects 5 to 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I think the big thing with those, like even like some of our calls, like listening to different people talk and that kind of thing, is like you honestly hear one thing and it's just like the motivation that you get that really like changes it. Like it's not even necessarily that what they say is going to be like, sometimes it is, but not all the time it's going to be like groundbreaking where you're like, oh my God, this is crazy information. But it's just like you get so motivated, and that's like the big thing that like can really kick off your business or like your motivation. Like I remember I had a conversation with someone and I left like just feeling super motivated, and I couldn't sleep. I was up at 4 a.m. I went to Starbucks. I was working all morning. Like it was just like, that's what happens. Like it's crazy. And
it is. And those are, in my opinion, some of the best calls. That's how you should be feeling after a call.
Right.
I've been in some meetings where like 5 minutes in, you're just like, oh my goodness. If I stay for the whole thing, I don't know if I'm going to survive. It's like this is taking every ounce of my energy just to listen to it, just draining me, right? It just feels like someone pulled the plug out of the tub. It just all going down the drain, and you're like, oh my goodness. But I've been on some calls where you're just like, afterwards, I'm like, holy smokes, I need to do something. It's 7 p.m. right now, but I need to friggin', I feel like I need to work. I can't just go relax.
Go to sleep,
No, I need to go do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how you should be leaving after a call. That's how you should feel.
Yeah.
That's why I really have enjoyed our group, is because the majority of times, not every single time, but the mass majority of times, I'm leaving super motivated.
Right.
And you said something a second ago that's super, super important to hit too. Most times when you hear that thing that you're like, oh, that's a good idea. It's not normally something that's prolific. Yeah. Because it's the basics that are the most important.
Right.
And this goes back to something I learned about Kobe Bryant. So I was at a conference in Nashville, and one of the speakers, Alan Stein Jr., I believe, he was Kobe's coach for a little while.
Okay.
So he was the coach for, I believe it was the Lakers, and or like one of the coaches or whatever it was, right? One of the like endurance coaches or something like that. And anyway, so the first time that he was there for the Lakers, he hadn't seen so I don't think he'd like met everybody yet, but he knew he was about to go to the first practice, and he asked, and he seen Kobe, and he's like, so what time is the practice tomorrow? Kobe said like 5. He's like, oh geez, like 5 p.m. you got something else going on. Like, are you sure? He's like, no, like 5 in the morning. And he's like, oh, okay. So Alan wanted to show up early to impress Kobe.
Yeah.
So he's up at, 3:30 or whatever. He gets in the cab around 4. He shows up around 4:30 to be there early, 30 minutes early.
Yeah.
The lights are on in the gym, and Kobe's already inside practicing. And after the practice, Alan was watching the whole thing, and he goes, like, is that it? Is that all he's practicing? And he talked to him afterwards. He said, so I watched you practice, and I've coached like varsity teams and high school teams. He goes, what you're practicing in your drills, it's all very simple stuff. You're not doing anything that's
crazy.
That's over the top.
Yeah.
And Kobe said, that's what sets me apart from everybody. I don't get tired with the basics.
Right.
Constantly drilled the basics, constantly practiced the most basic moves, which made him one of the best basketball players ever.
Yeah.
Just by practicing the basics. And it's like, wow, is that ever powerful, right?
That is.
Is that ever a eye-opening thing? Because we're all always like going like, what's the thing that nobody knows
what can we do?
that I can learn that's going to put me ahead?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's mastering the basics. Yeah. And sometimes, I'm almost saying this as a reminder to me. And it's something that I've been thinking about lately, because it's like the longer you do stuff, the more complex you feel like you need to do it. Yeah. Things shouldn't, I can't just do the basics after being in the business for 7 years. But it's like, that's actually where the bread and butter is. That's where all the success is doing the basic things, the lead generation, setting time in your calendar to do your basic lead generation activities, whether that's door knocking, cold calling, videos, whatever that is. And setting that time and sitting down and doing it. And just by doing that consistently, that's where you get legendary status.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly think that's like the biggest impact you can have. Like when there's nothing to do, just doing what you do best. And like, just like when there's nothing to do, I just like sit down and I'll like relearn something, or like just the basic things. Like
even reading a book.
Yes.
Reading a book, going out for a walk. Yeah. Even just taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Just taking care of yourself can be a great thing to do, and there's nothing else going on. Just to make yourself feel better.
Yes.
For when that call comes in. You could go out for a walk, take the dog out, do some stuff around the house. Now you're feeling better. Call comes in. You're friggin' in a great mood. Now you lock that deal in because you weren't just kind of like sitting around going like, why is my phone not ringing? Or like the wrong energy, right? Yeah. So sometimes just taking care of yourself can be the best thing. Yeah. And then also too, then just finding other things like the start of this year. Geez, I spent hours building out a website using AI. Yeah. Because I'm going like, this will be beneficial. Having a good website is very beneficial. And I also built like some systems in place too for that website. So I have like a intake form now for buyers and sellers. When they fill that out, I figured out a way to have it so that I get an email immediately when they fill it out. And then they get added onto my CRM automatically. Yeah. Automatically? No. Why am I messing that word up? Automatically. Wow, I can't say it. Automagically. There we go. Have you heard that?
No.
I just messed that one up. Just freaking, like, brain just glitched out for a second. Yeah, it was.
Real life.
Automatic. That's a weird word to say.
Skip that
automatically. One. Yeah, that's a weird word. Yeah. Can you say it?
Are you like automatically?
But say
automagically?
Yes, automatically. There we go. I normally don't have a hard time. Yeah, it's funny. I was spelling it out to my buddy this morning.
Yeah, were you?
Yeah, but I hadn't said it yet. You're watching Brandon learn how to talk, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Port City Pods. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so, and then I had that filled out so that it goes to me automatically. And anyway, I'm like, that's hilarious. And then anyway, so that comes in through my email and then it also gets added onto Bold Trail too, which is super cool. Right. So, just doing little stuff like that.
Yeah. And building your systems.
Just building the systems
especially this, like the start of the year, like when it's slow, like that's like the time to do it.
It's the best time. Yeah. It's one of my favorite times to get ahead on content, to get ahead on just like, because you're starting the year fresh, and it's like everybody does too. That's the thing. Coming into January. So then my trick last year was I'm going to start hard in October. I started hard in October, back when most people are taking their foot off the gas. Right. That's when I doubled down. Because I had been a little laxy-daisy all last year on my content. I got a little resting on my laurels or whatever they say. Yeah. And then I was like, no, I can't do that. Yeah. I need to get back at it. I need to make sure that I'm providing the value. Right. Who the heck is Vincent if he's not out there providing the value to everybody? Exactly. So anyway, yeah. So October, I went hard because most people have that fresh start. In January, but then they'll do something for like 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, it was just like me going to the gym every single day.
Yeah.
You could visibly see the gym get less busy and less busy every single day.
Yep.
And like the people who like completely dropped off, and I see the people who have not dropped off. And like now we're talking to each other going like, dude, like we've been coming every single day. Like, and it's like super cool to see
them. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. Well, I've only missed 2 days at the gym this year.
That's good.
I've only missed 2 days. And one of those days I still was out for like a 45-minute walk. So we are now 3 months have fully gone by. We're almost halfway through April here, kind of like the start of April, and I've only ever missed 2 days this year at the gym.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. And doing your 75 hard, did you find that had like a big impact on?
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. It completely rights a ship. So like I was facing the wrong direction, kind of going in the direction I wanted to, but it was just like, it just straightens everything out and just puts the motivation back in me, gets my mindset just dialed back in completely, energy levels way better. I get into better shape. I'm like...
You feel good, like especially completing that, like that's an accomplishment, and like it feels really nice to be able to like say that you did that.
It also just feels nice to feel better walking around the house. It also feels nice to be able to like just like hop up like 3 sets of stairs, just like
not be out of breath,
and like not be out of breath. Right. Because there's like, you know, there is times where I may not look completely out of shape, but it's like, you know, if you're sitting around and having a friggin', you know, a drink or two every single night, like that adds up quick. That adds up quick, and it just like quickly chips away at you. So just kind of going, hey, I need to get this like dialed back in, and then just realizing the business that comes from that, from feeling good, from being out there, from, you know, even just showing up on videos, like you show up a little bit better, right? So then that energy translates to everybody that's then watching it, which helps you to connect better. And like that's another thing that I love doing. I'm always trying to get. It's funny, when I first started doing content, I almost didn't want people to comment because I was like nervous of the bad comment. And I let a few of them destroy me when I first got into the business, just because maybe I was a little unsure of myself. Maybe I didn't think that I was doing well or something. There was something that just wasn't like, I didn't have the thick skin that I have now to be able to go like, that person's in a bad spot. Why do I care? Back then it was like, if I go one bad comment, I was like, oh my goodness. And I'd like read it and I'd think about it, stew on it. I'm like, is that right? Is that really? Am I really?
It does get to you.
Oh my goodness. And then like I'd stop doing content for a little bit and I'd be like, no, I need to get back at it. And every time I'd get back at it, I have a little thicker skin. To the point now where I'm like encouraging people. I'm like, I want to hear what people think. Drop your comment below. Let's talk about it. I want to start a friggin' discussion. Whether you just want to say something about me. Like I was going back at some guy last night. Some guy on a video that's been out for like 2 years. Wrote a whole bunch of bad things about New Brunswick. He was like, he's like, yeah, you're not talking about the mysterious brain disease that's going around New Brunswick. And you're also not talking about the extremely high radon levels, the highest in all of Canada, which are cancer causing. And you're not talking about, and he like said all these things. And then my reply was like, you're making some good points. Actually, thank you for like bringing these up, because these are going to be great video topics for me down the road. And I did say like, and I did some research, and I was like, well, this mysterious brain disease was like debunked as just being other diseases, but they're still looking into it a little bit for New Brunswick. But it's like, that's a great, you know, that's like some great things to talk about potentially. Like, what is that? Just so that we're not hiding things. I'm not looking to hide anything. But then this guy replies and he's like, nice try, liar. Like and he's just coming at me. And I'm like, okay, wait, this guy's not even interested in having a discussion. And it's just like, but I even commented back at him and I'm like, okay, I can clearly tell you're not interested in a discussion, because a discussion is trying to find truth. I'm not trying to cover anything up here, sir. I'm not trying to cover anything up. Hey, I don't have a horse in the race. Like whether there is or isn't a brain disease around New Brunswick, I'm not going to try to cover it up. If there is, let's look into it. Let's try to figure it out. That's a problem. Radon. Yeah, we have very high levels of radon, but my comment was, we also have very safe ways of testing and mitigating if there is radon. That was my comment. And he's like,
liar.
Yeah, liar, you're lying. It's all lies. And I'm like, oh, this is just somebody that's angry.
Yeah.
Sitting
Some
behind
people
the
are just
keyboard.
angry.
They're just angry.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that ever fascinating?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
it's not worth your energy.
no, yeah. It's like, it's not worth, it's like this guy's talking to me like I'm like some villain online.
Right.
That's like, New Brunswick's a great spot to move.
You're going to get everyone.
I'm going to get everybody here.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, and another thing that was crazy was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So many people messaged me and commented, and they're like, you're the reason that New Brunswick population and the house prices are going up. People thought I was the reason. And I'm like, you think my little channel, my little channel, you think I'm the reason that the population has grown by tens of thousands of people?
Yeah, people definitely had strong opinions over that, and I could see them wanting someone.
They were like, "Stop making videos! You're the one." I'm like, I've helped like 7 people in the last like 2 years from Ontario. Right. Like in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm the reason. I think it's the very enticing house prices, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
But yeah, so it's fun. That's why. But now I enjoy it. I enjoy it all. Finding a way to enjoy. You have to laugh at it.
Yep.
Don't let the negative comments hurt you. And I think that's part of like the self-development of just realizing like I'm doing this to give value.
Yeah. And finding yourself building what kind of brand you want, like then you're more confident behind it.
Yeah. And I always like to, give the negative comment a little bit of, like, it's like, don't just look at it and go, like, I don't want to completely discredit people. Like, I'm open to criticism for sure. I want to, it's like, okay, like, I want to look at it. And that's why I said to him, I'm like, hey, you're making some good points.
Yeah.
And then, just kind of like figuring out what to do with those comments. And I always like to comment back. A buddy of mine, he goes, dude, just say thanks for the engagement. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's fun, but that's kind of a cop-out too. Yeah. Now you're just kind of like sweeping them under the rug.
Yeah. Make them more mad in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are we at? Like an hour and a half?
Are we?
Let's see. No, it's only hour 15. Cool.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
But anyway, what do you think? Do you? I'm just gonna pop off camera here for a second.
Just me.
What do you think? Is there anything else you want to cover here? Any other takes that we could clip up at the end? We're at the end of the podcast now, so most people don't even watch this far.
Yeah, some do.
Some do. Yeah, some do. Some do. A lot of my first ones, my parents, I feel like did.
Yeah. Now they don't.
I don't know. I don't know if they still watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think my grandmother does. She loves it.
So you stream on all platforms?
All platforms. Yep. Spotify, iTunes. I actually just checked this morning. So 153 downloads since I started streaming on audio only.
Nice.
153. And that was I think that was starting in February, I believe, that we started. So maybe mid-January, February, I think was the first full month. March. Yeah, so it's been 153 downloads since, which is pretty cool because there's on the audio. So here's where it gets a little bit odd is I started the video podcast first.
Right. Okay.
So when you're looking at numbers, the video I'm on about, I think this is episode 34, maybe 35.
Okay.
But for the audio streaming, I only have 13 out because I launched it probably about I just started the audio just a few months ago. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm using my video podcast, extracting the audio and putting those on weekly. So I'm going to have a weekly cadence for the audio, which was very easy because I already had a library built up. Here's another very interesting thing. Yeah. Most podcasts will never make it past 10 episodes. Okay. Like a huge percentage. Yeah. There's a ton of podcasts out there. Yeah. There's a very small percentage that have ever gone past 10 episodes. There's an even smaller percentage that get past 100. So like as you keep going, you kind of start to distance yourself from the other ones that are just kind of one and dones. Yeah. And then you start to really solidify yourself. So the reason that I like this is it makes authentic content. We're just sitting here talking. Right. Yeah. We're not scripted. So the preparation on the back end, besides setting the studio up, preparation pretty low. Yep. Booking a time, but then also too, you get the relationship building with the guest. True. So then we get to sit here and have a high level conversation, and then you end up learning stuff normally about people that like I didn't know you wanted to be an interior designer. I had no idea. So I'm like, that makes sense. Like I can see that in you. Yeah. And So then you're building the relationship, but then you're also tapping into the networks of the people that you're doing the podcast with. So then we get to collaborate on this.
Yep.
You get tapped into my audience. I get tapped into your audience a little bit. And then, so then that's good. So that helps the awareness on either side there. But then also too, it allows you to reach out to people and have a you like, so you can reach out to them and give value. So let's say a like dentist or a like restaurant owner, you want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'd like to sit down and grab a coffee. Most time as a real estate agent, some people don't want to do that because they're like, you're trying to sell me on something.
Right.
You just, and then, so most times people don't really want to do that. Yeah. But if you invite them to a podcast, now you're coming from a place of value.
Yeah.
Most people haven't been asked to be on a podcast before.
Right.
Now it's giving the value before they even get there. Right. So then you're giving somebody else a platform as well. So the larger the podcast gets, the more enticing it'll be for people to come on, whether that's a thing or not. Like, even if it doesn't get big, I just love it for the relationships. I love it for the moment in time that we'll be able to look back on this. It's actually really cool that you'll be like, hey, in like 5 years, you're like, that was my first year in real estate. I've learned so much since then. You'll be like, you'll be looking at this and then being like, oh my goodness, like, is that what I was talking? I was like so new then. It's like when I look back at my videos, I'm like, oh my goodness, like, is this what I was doing?
That's a cool thing to like be able to do as well.
It is so
like,
cool.
Having social media and capturing so many different moments. It's cool to see.
Having like this massive photo album pretty well, right?
Yeah.
And it is really cool to see even on the videos, like some of the podcasts I'll look back at. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember, like, it's like I'm talking about this conference because I just got back, or like maybe my energy's a little bit down and I'm like, oh yeah, there was that going on in my life at the time. That was kind of messing me up a little bit. And maybe I was drinking a little bit too much around that time and not as friggin' smooth with my words or whatever. And like, it's just cool to see. It's very cool to look at that and just like look back. And, you know, I like, it'd be cool to like look, it'd be cool to look back, you know, like with your kids or whatever and be like, that was me when I was younger. So that they can kind of see that, right? So anyway, those are the reasons that I love doing podcasting. Also the clips. It's just infinite. You throw this into Opus Clip after and you get like 15 to 30 clips of us sitting here having a real cool conversation. And most people are like, hey, like, you know, they're not on there trying to sell something. They're just like being themselves and like they pick up on that. So it makes authentic content easy, then it makes posting more consistently easy. So when people are like, geez, Brendan posts a lot, it's like, well, when you have a lot to work with, it's easy. It's so easy. And it's a matter of just like, even this morning, I woke up, literally jumped in the shower, and then I went right into the office upstairs and I started an Opus Clip. And I'm like, before Sammy gets here, I want to make a post because after I want to make another post as well. And then, so like I was on Opus Clip chopping stuff up and I was just like, all right, there we go. There's a little clip there. Talked about the Atlantic Canada sentiment about whether it's a good time to buy or not. And the majority of people think it's a bad time to buy, but there's a handful of people that think it's a good time to buy. And I was talking about how you don't want to try to time the market. Everybody wants to like, oh, I'm going to wait till the things crash. It's like, no, because you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody could have predicted the last 6 months, let alone the last 6 years. I had friends who were looking with me during 2021 and they were looking for houses and they were like, maybe I'll just wait till the market cools down. And I'm like, I don't know if it's going to, man. And then they're like, well, I'll wait and see. And they drop off and then I don't hear from them for a while. And then a year later, now they're looking again with their girlfriend now because, you know, and then now they're looking and I remember him specifically being like, man, I wish I would have bought a year ago because everything he's looking at now is 30 to 40% more expensive. So it's like, was that a good idea to wait? No, the best time is when you're ready. That's the best time because everybody's situation is going to be different. You cannot time the market. If you're ready and you're able and you find a deal that you're happy with, that's a good time. It doesn't matter what's going on.
It is. I know. And the market's always changing. Like we're kind of into a shift right now and it's like unique to see because when I started it was like heavy on the seller's side, so it was like multiple offers on everything, competing with everyone, and now we're kind of going through a shift and it's like we obviously have that insight, being able to like see the back end of things, but it's really just like you said, when someone's ready is the best time. Like you can't predict when it's going to be the best time.
And I have a lot of buyers right now going like, I'm so confused with the housing prices. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I see one, it's listed, 2 houses on the same street. One's listed for $70,000 more than the other one. And they're like, what's going on? And it's like, obviously, just because it's on the same street doesn't mean it's the exact same product.
Right.
But what's going on right now, in my opinion, is there's 2 different strategies happening.
There is, yep.
Right? There's the strategies of list high because people realize the market's shifting, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
Agents realize, they go, oh, things are slowing down.
Right.
I no longer can do the list low, hold offers, and hope that we get multiples. And some of them are going right on the defensive to the list high, and we'll let the market kind of like play us down, leave some buffer in there for what my clients want. And then there's other people going, we're going to list low. So then people are seeing those 2 different strategies, which are significantly further apart. Yeah. And then that confuses people. Yeah. So it's like, that's what I've tried to educate them on right now. Right. And then our job as real estate agents is to try to figure out which strategy is being used. Yeah. If they have a property disclosure, they're pretty well screaming that they're expecting more than what it's listed for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or else you wouldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have buyers right now that like when there's not multiple offers on a home, that they're taking it as like a red flag. Like right away, they're like, there must be something wrong with this house. Like what's wrong with it? Why is it not getting attention?
Who died here?
Yeah.
Was there a fire?
Happened? Yeah. Something had to have happened because we're so used to.
Is the basement a swimming pool? Like is the roof about to collapse? Yeah. People literally, if it's on the market for like 2 weeks, what's wrong with that house? And then they start making a narrative in their head. They're like, oh geez, well, maybe it's because of this issue. They're close to that, or somebody, or like maybe there was a fire, or blah blah blah. Like and they start creating a narrative, and that's one thing I've
because we're so used to it.
That's one thing I've kind of learned to like don't make assumptions on anything. Right. We have to go see it. Yeah. Let's go see it. Figure out A, are you interested? Yeah. Then B, if you're interested, we'll start looking into what's going on here. Right. Like, and then I'll try to look in. I'll like dive in a little bit up front to be like, do I see anything apparent? I'm looking on the back end, looking at previous sales. Yep. Am I finding anything fishy? Right. No, it's just maybe it was improperly priced. Yeah. Maybe it just got missed by the majority of the market.
Yeah, and
maybe
that does happen.
Maybe this is an opportunity for us. Let's go look at it.
And most times it is.
Most times it is. Yeah. Most times it is. And also most times it's not.
Yeah, that's true. It really is dependent on the situation.
It is, for sure.
But I bet you've had listings too where it's like a great house, a beautiful house. You think that everything's priced correctly and maybe it just doesn't get the attention that
100%.
That it deserves. And
100%.
It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it.
It just needs the right buyer.
Yeah, it
just needs the right buyer. It's like, and you can do all the marketing in the world too. And sometimes you just need that right buyer. It reminds me a lot of Centennial. My Centennial property. Yeah. Where the garage was bigger than the house.
Is that the one that you did a video on?
Me and Jelaine.
Yeah, and you were upstairs on the balcony? Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
So I'm like, that one takes a special buyer.
Yeah, true.
That house was built and designed by a man. Right. And it needed another man to buy it. Most women were like, there's not enough room in the kitchen, da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's like the layout. Yep. And I'm like, this was kind of designed by, this was what my seller wanted. And he was in charge of all the design and everything. Yeah. But we found the right buyer for it. Right. We just kind of played patient, waited, and kept the marketing going. And eventually the right buyer came along. Yeah. Which was really good. And, that's another thing too, I'm very glad that I started when I did, because I had about a year to sharpen my teeth on a very strong buyer's market. Really? Yeah. That was where like listings sat for like 6 months. Right. I remember doing probably about 20 open houses for one house. Wow. And I remember literally like most weekends, nobody showed up. Yeah. But my clients wanted an open house. Right. And it was my only listing. Right. And I was a year in. Yeah. So guess what I did? I did open houses every single weekend. Yeah. Yeah. Every single weekend. Yeah. But at the same time, and I was working it. And then once we got an offer on it, then it was like, help them find a house. Right. It's
is there one side that you prefer? Is it kind of,
do I prefer to represent one side or the other?
No, like, do you prefer working in a buyer's market or a seller's market? Like, is there one that you prefer, or? Is there one that's like necessarily easier? Because this far, like right now, we're technically into a balanced market, but before we were in a seller's market, and that's all I know.
I don't think there's either that I prefer.
No.
But I will shift my energy to focus on who has the opportunity.
Right.
So in a buyer's market, I was very focused on finding people that wanted to buy. Because when you did,
you had the advantage.
You had the advantage.
Right.
You were pretty well able to submit offers. And it was like a thing in my mind when I first got in the business. I was like, I can get any listing down 10 to 20,000.
Right.
Just almost automatically.
Right.
It was just assumed.
Yeah. Like you're not going to go in.
It was on the market. You know, most places are on the market. We're on the market for like 6 months.
Right.
So it's like, if somebody brings you an offer, it's $10,000
for the offer.
Yeah. Yes, they want to sell the house, and nobody's been willing to buy it. And now you bring somebody that is. Then now you're in the driver's seat, right? Now, then what I realized coming into after the pandemic, I was going, geez, working with buyers is getting significantly harder. I need to really shift my energy towards sellers. And it's like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
Well, what it means is, who are you talking to? Who are you communicating with? Who are you doubling down on when they reach out? So let's say that, you know, there was a buyer and a seller talking to me at like the same time. Well, I'd be like, okay, you know, obviously give this buyer the attention they deserve, but I need to focus on the seller because right now that's a rare commodity in this market.
Right.
So then also, who am I speaking to? What messages am I putting out? What content am I putting out? Putting out content that was directed towards sellers. Because if you were putting out content talking about, let's say, like directed towards first-time home buyers. So if you're trying to educate people on like different like meanings of like a contract, you're trying to educate people on how to buy their first property, you're speaking to first-time home buyers. But when you start to put content out about how to increase the value of your home, you start to put out content talking about the current market and then what the stats are. You're talking to both there, which I love. But there's ways to communicate. So every piece of content we put out has a signal that's meant to be received from a certain audience most times. And if you're putting out, you may or may not even know what signal you're putting out. But if you're talking about a lot of stuff for first-time home buyers, that's who's watching it. That's who's interested. People with homes that need to sell aren't going to watch that content all the way through because they're like, no, I've already done this before. I already know that. I already have my house now. So then it's figuring out that messaging. And then once I kind of shifted that, I started to get a lot more listings. But also, too, the longer you're in the business, the more listings you end up getting because those first-time home buyers that you helped end up calling you when the time to sell comes for them, which is normally most people are in home for about 3 years. Like which I thought was low when I first heard that stat, but it's about 3 years on average. So then, you know, after a few years, and I remember talking to some experienced agents, I was like, how do you guys get listings? And they're like, yeah, once you're in for like 2 or 3 years, like it just starts to happen. You have to get a few of them under your belt, prove that you're very competent at doing it. Use those as leverage every other listing appointment that you go into. And then also leveraging the group that you're with, leveraging the network. That was a big thing. So anytime I first started off and like had a listing, I would always talk about like, it was like me and the brokerage. So it's like, not just like, I was like, hey, look, you know I'm young, but you know, I have a great resource for this. And like, you know, I have all kinds of people in the background that are willing to help me out and like the brokerage and then this and that. And like, here's what our group's done. So use like the brokerage kind of like stats or whatever. Like, it's like finding ways just to kind of like, say it's not just me because it's not, right? And I did have a lot of support on the back end when I first started as well, and that's super important. It is. So just shifting, I guess, the mindset. So do I have a certain market that I prefer? Not really. I think I just now analyze the market and go, where's the opportunity at? Who can I help with that opportunity? But at the same time, you know, I'm not going to turn down any business at the end of the day. As long as it's mutual on both sides. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe. Sami, I'm going to put her information down below. And thank you very much. And thanks for having me. You're very welcome.